everybody, it's me, Becky, Youth Services Librarian here at the Longview Public Library, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do our March All Ages Craft paper plate loom. What you'll need to make your paper plate loom is a pair of scissors, some tape, I prefer masking tape, but almost any kind of tape will work, and your craft packet, which you can pick up in library drive-thru. So what comes in your craft packet is a paper plate and 5 little balls of yarn. So you'll get 4 of these thicker yarns and 1 of a thinner yarn. The first thing you're going to do is to take your paper plate and cut it into a loom. So all this involves is making cuts along the outside of the paper plate. So I'll cut it like every other notch and not too far in, maybe like an inch and then an inch between, roughly, and then cut it like that all the way around. It doesn't need to be perfect at all. Okay, so once it's cut all the way around your plate, you're ready to string the warp on. So you're going to use your thinner piece of yarn to do this. So you start with a couple of inches at the end of your yarn and notch it through one of the notches that you made in the paper plate, and it should just stay there. If you have a problem with it falling out or something, you can tape it down. And then you will find the notch most closely to being right across from this first one and notch your yarn into that one. You'll go around this like that and notch it over, and then pull it diagonal and straight across from the last one you notched it through, and notch it in that one. So it's crossing the first yarn that you pulled across there. And then you do it again here, behind and across and over, behind and across and over, behind and across and over. So it should be crossing only on the front and not on the back. So when you're done, it'll have just these marks here. I'll show you what that looks like. So when we get to this part where I'm on like the very last one, I'm going to notch it across and over, but I'm going to not notch it on this last blank one, but take it back and it will share a little notch with the first one I did. And the reason I do that is because it actually needs an odd number all the way around, so that as you weave it, when it starts coming back around where you went under that time the first time, it's going to go over it the next time, and it'll make sense as we get going. So this is what it looks like on the back. This is what it looks like on the front. And if you have some yarn left over, just leave like a couple inches and you can just cut the rest off. We won't need that. So I selected the first color I'm going to be weaving out from the middle of. I picked this red out of the 4 I have. And before I get started, I'm going to take a little piece of masking tape and wrap it around the end of my yarn, like an aglet that you have at the end of your shoelace. That makes it easier to lace your shoes. So I cut my first yarn that I'm going to be weaving a little bit shorter so it's easier to work with at first. And then when we are done with it, we can just tie more onto the end. So I'm going to start weaving here where these two are notched into the same one. I'm going to start weaving along the outside because it's easier to see the distinct threads in the warp. And then as I go along, I'll kind of pull the woven yarn towards the center. So just go under one and over the next one, under this one, over the next one, and under. So I'll do a few and then pull almost to the end of my yarn. I'm going to leave like a 3-inch tail and kind of scooch it into the center. So now back to where I was to find my place. Here is the last string I was working on, and the yet red you can see went under that one, so it's going to go over this next one. And I just keep going over and under, over. So here I am back to where I started, and I went under that the first time, and just because we had an odd number all the way around, it's time to go over it. And if you have the odd number and you don't miss any, that should be kind of what naturally happens. So you can see as I've gone around a couple of times, the pattern in the weaving is starting to appear. And it's easier to distinguish the threads from the other as you are like weaving up and down. Some tips as you do your project: when you're initially stringing the warp on, try not to pull it too tight. You don't want the plate to cave in too much, and also try not to pull it too tight when you're snugging it to the center. That'll kind of create like a concave finished project, which could be cool, but I think what we're trying to do is make something that's just flat and round right now. So here I am with another project that I was working on, and as you can see, I've reached the end of this piece of yarn. So I'm going to take another, I have this beautiful blue, I'm going to cut the little aglet off of that one and just tie these two together. It doesn't have to be a fancy knot or anything. Just like that. And then I will make a new aglet at the end of my blue and keep weaving. Okay, so this one is woven all the way to the edge of the plate. And now what I'm going to do is just take it off the plate. So if you like the way that this looks though, you can just like hang it like art. But what I'm gonna do is take it off the plate, and all you do is like bend these little tabs down and pull these off. I haven't tied anything down yet, so like I just left this hanging, but I'll come back after that, after I've pulled this all off, and tie up the loose ends. Well, there you have it. This is my finished piece from my paper plate loom. This is cool. You can use it as a trivet or as like a decorative object in your home. You could even use it as a little soup bowl cozy. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to pick up your craft packet and library drive-through, and I hope you all enjoy making your paper plate loom.